Well, hey everybody, welcome Ghouls and Goblins to my October series. Just kidding, I won't be that cheesy. Today I want to talk to you about a Korean film called Bedevilled. I want to say thank you to my subscriber André for coming up with my first video to watch for October series. And if any of you didn't check out my introduction to my October series, this is the second season. Last October I started this. I'm going to be doing a video every week where I'm going to be talking about a specific horror film that I have watched during the week and talk about whether or not I liked it, the plot, and all those pros and cons, kind of just like a normal movie review that I normally do. And so what I want you to do, if you haven't watched that original video, is comment down below some horror films that you might want me to check out. That way I can do a review of it. So I'll pick the ones that I like the most and possibly talk about them. Who knows, I might even do two. But anyway, we're going to talk about Bedevilled today. This is a Korean film. So Bedevilled was directed by Jang Chae-so. Hopefully I said that right, but this came out in 2010 and is a psychological horror film. So this movie is about two girls who are best friends and they haven't seen each other in quite some time, in a long, long time, and I mean like 15 years, I want to say. One of them lives in the city, in Seoul. The other one lives on this island, is secluded. This is where they're both from, and a really tight-knit community that is kind of just overbearing. But Seoul, we're going back to the one main character who is more or less just on the edge of everything going on in her entire life. She witnesses a crime and she goes and into the police station, and she notices that the guys are there as well, and it gets roughed up a little bit more herself and gets threatened. And so she decides to take up the offers that her friend has been constantly trying to ask her to come to the island, because she wants to see her, and she keeps calling, and she's always busy with work, and she's just doing this financial job that she's doing, and more or less she wants to get out of the situation she's currently in, because her life is getting threatened. And so she goes to this island and meets her and notices that things aren't right. She's got a husband who's got a really weird brother, and they have a daughter as well. And then there's a group of girls, an elderly woman, an old grandpa as well, and they're all on this island, and it's only accessible with like one boat, and it's just everything is strange, and that's where like potatoes and honey is made, and so that's pretty much where they're exporting, and their livelihood is based on all of that. But you can see immediately that the relationship between the two women is strained. Because one of them is so excited to see the other one, and the other one's just like, why do you still like want to hang out with me? Like, it's been 15 years, like we were kids back then. And you can see that the woman who's still held on, she is going through a lot of really difficult stuff, and especially with family. And this family is very abusive, and that's where you start noticing the unraveling is the family, especially the husband and the brother, and also just all of everybody, honestly, just abuses this woman, and she's the main character on this, and she is just abused over and over and over again, and until it breaks her, and then she snaps, and then as you can tell, something goes off. And that's where I'm going to stop talking about it with the plot, because I don't want to really spoil it. I want you to check it out yourself. It's a great psychological thriller. It's a little slow on the burn, and now we're going to start talking about the pros and cons of the film. This movie I thought was really great. So some of the pros I would say about this movie is I thought that the way it was built up together really unhinged, and I thought a lot of the performances in this movie were fantastic, especially by the main character in this movie. There's like two main characters, and there's the two women. The one main character who's on the island, she plays her part really, really well, and I was really convinced that all of the stuff going on in her life really amounted to what she would eventually do. And so you can just tell by that. I'm kind of just put spoilers on there. But anyway, I really liked that aspect of the film. I also liked the isolation factor of the island. So the setup, the set design, just the way the scenery was, I thought was brilliant, and I really love how it played together from like Seoul, the city life, to the country, which is like the island. So it's secluded, and so I like that kind of aspect, that dual aspect nature of it. So some of the cons I would talk about is this movie was a slow burn. I know I mentioned that a little bit earlier. This movie takes a lot of bit of time to get to, and it's also really hard to swallow some of the things that go on in this movie. As you can already tell by the cover, it's a really bloody film, reminiscent of like Old Boy, reminiscent of I Saw the Devil as well. So there's some really gruesome things that happen in this movie. Also some just really hard abuse to see. I wouldn't say necessarily that's a con. It's not necessarily something I'm attracted to in film. I know it's necessary for the film to get across, which I appreciate, and it's a minor con. So overall, I would say that this movie, Bedevilled, is really worth your time. I would give this movie a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed how everything was set up, and how it was executed. But there is some times where it took a little time to get picked up to where it was, and there's also some gruesome and hard things to watch as an audience member. But I think it's really worth your time. It's October after all. We're supposed to see some horror and some terror, and that's what this movie's all about. So check this movie out, Bedevilled. Go check it out if you don't have access to it. Try to buy it on Amazon. It's pretty cheap relatively. So that is the movie I've talked about today. Thank you so much for checking out my first in my October series. I'm looking forward to doing more. Remember to comment down below with your picks. What movies should I watch for October? Remember, they can be psychological horror, they can be thrillers, they can be actual horror movies, slasher movies, alien movies, sci-fi movies, any of those kind of things. Give me some suggestions down below. Thank you so much for checking this video out. Like, comment down below. Don't forget to share this video, hit that notification bell, and don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.